Welcome to Intelligent Minds Accounting Solutions. This video presentation will explain what a cloud-based financial provider and advisor brings to the nonprofit industry. The old way of getting financial information for a nonprofit is sending their data like bank statements, donor detail, expense and check data, fund disbursements, payroll, and anything else that may be sent to help your CPA or bookkeeper. That individual would then make the necessary entries and adjustments. There are usually clarifying questions that would happen and a go back and forth between the two parties. Finally, the financial reports would be sent over. The client would get an income statement and balance sheet. It most likely would not be in the nonprofit standards to show activity between with donor restrictions and without donor restrictions. Any other additional reports or analysis would most likely be done in Excel. The information is also coming after a certain period, which means it's already behind in helping the decision makers make their decisions. As you can tell, this is a slow and arduous process and brings challenges. Everything or almost everything is going to be offline. Also, nonprofits rely on fund accounting. They need access to cash flow, and in this example, this process is being done on a monthly basis. Sometimes this process is done quarterly or even annually. It creates a lot of mismanaged resources and time, manual processes and workarounds, heavy dependency on Excel, lack of visibility for all departments in the organization, and even the board could feel uninformed. And lastly, when the nonprofit needs to file their 990, it'll take a lot of resources to obtain the specific required financial information to complete. Therefore, most nonprofits extend their filing requirement, putting them behind in the current year. It is also not easy to audit, which means more resources from the nonprofit will be used to provide their auditors the data they need. Newer systems allow you to take advantage of today's growing cloud platforms. If you use a newer system like Sage Intacct or Xero, you could add platforms that will automatically post transactions into the system. Examples include donor modules, bill payment platforms, payroll, bank and credit card feeds, CRM platforms, expense report platforms, and almost any other cloud-based financial support system. It also allows access to multiple users, including multiple stakeholders in a nonprofit organization, including department chairs, board members, and the executive team. Someone like myself and my team, who would be your virtual controller and advisor, would also have access, and even your CPA firm that files the 990 or performs the audit would have access as well. While there are multiple cloud-based accounting softwares, you want to be sure to have an advisor that can give you all that you need. The new system should be able to give you the data like financial statements that are non-profit specific, including splitting out with donor restrictions and without donor restrictions. You should be able to view your statement of functional expenses in real time, know the value of each specific restricted fund balance, view all fundraising income and expenses, and other data like employee information. The new system should also have custom dashboards that can be set up for multiple users and view all needed reports depending on the person's role. The dashboard can then give more financial data like ratios and analytics, and even bring in non-financial information like volunteer hours, people served, or attendance, to name a few examples. With these non-financial information, you can then even create additional ratios and analytical data. Let's look at a few examples. This is a dashboard from Sage Intacct that a manager at a nonprofit possibly could use. It shows specific financial performances using what is called scorecards. There are also graphs that show designated versus undesignated giving. You can also use the drop-downs in the upper right to filter for specific dates, funds, projects or grants, and even customers or donors. This example could be used for a controller at a nonprofit. It also has the drop-down options, but it is showing financial data like statement of revenue and expenditures, expenses by category, and other financial information. There is also a way to see if there are any payments that may need your approval. This last dashboard is titled for a CFO, but could really be used for many different executives or board members within a nonprofit. It is showing actuals versus budget and has different expense and revenue data. There is also capital assets and net asset detail. There is also the ability to show any purchase orders that may need to be approved. One thing to remember is that there is drill down capabilities in the financial statements and graphs on all three of these dashboards. My last example is the financial statement used for the 990. The statement of functional expenses is being tracked in real time. The departments are being rolled up into the three major categories so that you are always up to date. There is also drill down capabilities where you can drill down into the data to see the specific transactional detail if needed. This is a very brief synopsis of how a cloud-based financial system provider can be your virtual accountant, IT specialist for all your financial platforms, and an advisor that understands nonprofit accounting, reporting, metrics, and custom processes. To learn more and set up an appointment for a more in-depth free demonstration, please email at info@intelligentmindsacct.com or through the website at intelligentmindsacct.com and submit a contact form.